3, 2, 1.
So there's this clip going viral online of a dozen women being asked the following question: do we need men? Most answered very quickly, no.
Because men are useless.
This headline from The Hill, it caught my eye. Most young men are single. Most young women are not.
Young men have fallen faster than any demographic in America over the last 40 years.
It's a different world now. Like, we don't need men the way that they used to.
Nobody needs men!
The future is female.
Men and women are drifting further apart, and society is crumbling because of it.
A fascinating debate has broken out about the value of marriage.
You've kind of got the trad con versus red pill thing.
This men's rights crowd that sometimes just goes too far the other way.
You need to stop acting like grown boys and infants and actually become men.
Marriage is a bond, and it's a sacred bond.
It's a machine designed to extract resources from you.
Now many of the red-pilled have taken the position that it's bad for men to get married.
Hannah Pearl Davis, or just Pearly things.
One of the most controversial faces in all of the internet.
She goes on to say that marriage is a terrible deal for men.
Because if me and you were in a business contract, you would never sign a contract where I am paid to leave.
Gee, what could go wrong there?
74% or something of divorces are initiated by women. Men have everything to lose, primarily their own children.
Men get killed by the courts and by divorce laws.
I had no idea that courts of family law were courts of equity, not courts of law.
Because in family court, you don't need evidence to accuse someone of abuse. You need no evidence. When you guys say get married young, a lot of these men don't know what they're signing up for, and you're not going to be there when their entire life falls apart. I interview them on the other side.
I didn't meet my son until he was 15 months old.
How much did you spend trying to get him back?
On legal fees alone was about $200,000.
Before you know it, you're homeless. You're literally just thrown out onto the street.
We absolutely reinforce bad behavior from women.
Wives are taught to leave their husbands, and then daughters grow up without their fathers.
Family is the foundation of the society.
Every problem in society comes from single mother homes.
A lot of women will just chase this negative rabbit hole of happiness, endless happiness.
Feminism's biggest failures is it lies to women. We tell women to date as many guys as possible. We tell them to put off family into marriage.
You are allowed to leave your perfect husband. You are allowed to end a relationship with a really great boyfriend.
Oh, freeze your eggs, have an abortion. What? You're evil.
I don't think there's anything else in life that we actually ever go into preparing to fail. Right. Like if you have the mentality of this is going to go wrong and be pessimistic, naturally the outcome is going to be that it's going to fail anyway. Yeah. It's self-sabotage.
And that's the thing, like women are so willing to leave marriages because they're not happy. This is not about happiness. The most important thing is the children. And the problem is we have a modern society where it's me, my feelings, leave when I feel like it, instead of doing what's best for the kids.
This myth that we live in an age of male privilege. Where's my male privilege?
They think, well, men have all the rights. They have all the power.
Privileged patriarchal system that we have.
Why doesn't our society care about men's rights?
I have no friends, no wife, and no social life.
Men are alone in this situation. Men are homeless. Men are thinking about eating guns.
I've seen so many men on the brink of suicide, and they didn't do anything wrong.
How are you equal if the men are the ones that have to fight and die to defend the country? The men are the ones that build and maintain all the infrastructure.
Women are helplessly dependent upon men.
The so-called deaths of despair from suicide, overdose, or alcohol, 3 times higher among men than among women.
Culture is telling men, you are no good.
You got to get your act together.
I think men have failed themselves.
What kind of a man are you? What kind of a woman are you going to attract?
If men are in trouble, so are women.
Everybody knows this is a huge problem, but nobody wants to admit it.
Every single woman at the table said they wanted a man.
500K.
500K. 300K. 300K.
200K.
Am I crazy?
Everything is really set up against you to fail as a man.
If men make less than women, women don't want to marry them.
So you know who wants more economically and emotionally viable men? Women.
I don't want to be an independent woman anymore.
I don't want to be a strong, independent woman.
I'm over it. When is it going to be my turn?
Where are we meeting the men that don't stop?
I can't keep having these same conversations.
The only simp here is you, Pearl. You simp for men.
I think you simp for women.
She's a provocateur. She says stupid stuff, but Pearl is right about this.
It's already happening. It's just not out in the open yet.
Now it's just hookup culture is going to be our fairy tale ending because men don't want a wife and women can't find a husband. The future, if everybody follows your path, is there is no future.
We go into population decline, and our economy goes into decline.
Civilization will crumble.
The American story does not end well. This is an existential crisis failing young men.
What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode here of Pearl Daily. I am your host, Pearl, and today we're going to talk about when women take an L. Not just any L, but the ultimate L. Women that can't even be mothers, that they are such bad mothers and just overall people, that they abandon their children. But before we get started, guys, if you do want to support the documentary trailer that I showed you guys bringing in, we are trying to raise $100,000 when we get to around there. We can actually hire a team to do this documentary. We're at $25,000, which is awesome. You guys are amazing. But we do got to get to around 100. I have $1 million as the goal because shooters shoot, you know what I mean? I'm going to shoot for the stars. And we could get at $1 million, we could get like a Netflix grade documentary with the same team that made What is a Woman? But, you know, if we get to 100K, I can hire, it doesn't got to be like an A level. Anyway, so welcome to another episode of Pearl Daily. Now, the goal of modern feminism is to hold men accountable while allowing women to do whatever they want. The double standards that come from this are absolutely disgusting. A woman can be fat and be praised, but a man has to be in shape to attract a broke, fat baby mama. Isn't that crazy? Women are praised for being single, while men are called incels if they choose not to deal with women. A woman can abort a child, but a man can't give away his parental rights. If a man doesn't want to be in a child's life, he's automatically the villain. But if a woman does the same thing, she's praised as being stunning and brave. It's really amazing. Feminists in the media paint any man that is not involved with his children as a deadbeat dad. Never mind that most women choose to have children out of wedlock. Are typically their demons that actively try to keep the children away from the father. These women keep fathers out of their lives while still trying to pursue their own selfish desires. These women leave the children alone to figure out how to navigate the world by themselves. And in extreme cases, mothers will abandon their children. It's crazy to see that society seeks to understand why mothers walk away, but show no empathy for men that do the same thing. That's what we're going to talk about today. Women that abandon their children. So there was a talk show done with 3 women that left their children with a woman who left her 3 children with the dad.
You're divorced. You have 2 kids, a 10-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old son. Now, you made the decision to leave them with their dad just 4 months ago.
Yes.
Why?
Because ultimately it's because 50-50 shared care doesn't work. And I've been, we tried to do this for a while. And I don't think 50-50 shared care works when you have lots of conflict between 2 parents. After I had tried to seek relocation of the kids to come to Sydney, back to Sydney to live, because we were living in Port Macquarie.
Which is on the north coast.
It is, so it's 4.5 hours away, but there's not a lot of employment opportunities. And just didn't have anything more to offer for me, and I came back to Sydney to work.
Why was it you that did the leaving?
My ex-partner, he's established in Port Macquarie. He's not going to... He's fought this hard. We've both fought for the kids. We both wanted the kids full time, but, I had to make the call. And it's just because I couldn't live in this limbo anymore. Like, I felt like...
Yeah, so I would imagine that's probably, I don't know Australia, but I'm guessing that's a small town. So she's like, I want sex in the city lifestyle. But now I'm stuck in this small town with no career opportunity because of these kids I chose to have that I'm just not feeling anymore. So she bounced, yeah.
I'm not fulfilling my life. Like, it's, yeah.
Tell me a bit about your background, about your family background, your own.
My mum was a single parent. She had myself and my older sister. We grew up really poor. We didn't have a lot. Mum did her best to provide for us.
So having a career is really important to you?
It is. It is. If we stop stop and take a moment to think about Aboriginal people. You know, we're dying sooner than any other race. High rates of incarceration, lots of teenage...
And it's crazy because she's going to talk about, this is what women will try to save the world before they try to save their own home, their own marriage, or their own children. That's why women do terrible in politics, because usually their own home isn't, like, they can't even fix their own marriage. How are they going to fix the world's problems? And it's women's responsibility to fix their relationship and fix the marriage. It's not men's. Men's job is to be attractive. Some would argue provide, even though women don't even really seem to want men to do that anymore. They want to work. So their job is to be attractive.
Pregnancy, young kids not finishing school. And, you know, so for me, how I'm going, I've done something with myself. I'm being successful. I've broken down the cycle of welfare dependency. I'm trying to do something with my life, you know, and I think that that's admirable. I'm trying to teach my kids the right way, that you've got to work hard. You've got to get an education. These are the fundamentals.
So how did you weigh up that decision to come here without them?
Obviously, the kids were my first. What it meant to them was, if you ever asked them to choose, they never would ever choose, because they love both of us and we are both good parents. Their dad is a great dad. There's nothing to do with who's a better parent.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is there's no real reason for you to leave and that you were causing arguments. But look at all the sympathy she's getting. Imagine if this was a dad who did the same thing. He would get no sympathy, none.
But yeah,
they would all be screaming at him. Do you see these like looks of empathy?
I had to think about what was best for them ultimately, and having them around conflict, is that healthy? No, it's not. I don't want them to see that. I want them to feel safe and secure and stable in one environment, and I knew that they would have that with their dad versus still continue.
Now, I actually think that more women could do this. You know, what's worse, right? A woman who gives up custody and wants nothing to do with you, or a woman dragging you to court every 4 years. I would love to see this be more common. I would love to see this be like a normal thing. Yeah.
Continuing going backwards and forwards from houses.
Now, this is very recent. It's only 4 months, yeah?
Yeah.
What sort of things are going through your mind at the moment about that decision you've made?
I wake up every day and I think to myself, have I done the right thing? Yeah, and I
have never met a kid from a single father home that turned out messed up. And to be honest, she probably did do the right thing. She's probably too selfish to be a mother. You might as well give the kids to the dad because they're naturally selfless. So just take that L. I mean, I think that no mother is better than a mother that's a bad influence, because a mother that's a bad influence can turn the kids against the father. No mother is amazing. That's awesome.
Worry what people think of me as a woman and as a mother. And it's hard because I want my kids with me. I want to be there. I want to be making breakfast with them and helping them with their homework. And I'm a good mom.
This is so performative. You can't be a good mom and abandon your kids, lady.
And yeah, it's a daily challenge. I have to get up. And
now, what she's really crying about is her reputation, which is essentially ruined because of this choice. So yeah, it is what it is.
You know, I'm in an empty house and there's no little footsteps, and I feel like I'm not complete. But then I have to say to myself, you know, you're strong, you can do this, you've already come so far, you can do this. And then one day these kids, they'll come to me and they'll also see what I'm trying to do. In my work, everything that I do has purpose. I've been trying to create social change with everything that I do. I don't just have a job. It's about, you know, advocating for Indigenous rights. It's about enabling, you know, whether it be corporate.
So she has a job doing nothing. Doing nothing, you know. So she said, I would rather not be a mother. What she's saying is she doesn't really like the guy she reproduced with. She's having second thoughts, and yeah, now she's going to go follow whatever.
federal government to engage with, successfully with the Indigenous community. Like, and I just want to be a positive role model.
How have the kids reacted?
It's still early days to kind of understand. I think my son, throughout all of this process since 2012, he's never...
Greg in the chat said, I took responsibility for getting serious with a party girl. No. I actually don't think it's a bad thing. Wednesday, I'm going to do a show on the... I don't want to say you should impregnate a crackhead. Like, I don't like to say should on this channel, but I want to talk about the pros of getting a crackhead pregnant. Because, I met the single father the other day. You guys, when I meet you guys in person, the fans, actually, I do think we should have a talk about public things. I don't mind being recognized and saying hi, but if I'm ever somewhere where there's a lot of women, do you know what I mean? I kind of tread carefully because women are crazy. I don't know what they're going to do to me, But you're like, I fear women a little bit, I'm like, I don't. But anyway, so the single dad was telling me about a situation impregnating a crackhead. And I looked at him, I'm like, your situation sounds great. So the mom left. She doesn't want the kids. You're not dragged to court and you get to raise your kid on your terms. Do you know, I looked at him, I'm like, do you know how lucky you are? And I asked him, I'm like, is he like mentally, because of the crack? And he's like, no, he came out healthy. I'm like, you got so lucky, my guy. You got so lucky. I told him. So, I don't know if a deadbeat mom is the worst thing in the world. I think it almost gives the kid a better shot at life. Because women, it's like, do you know what? You'll be just shooting for the stars. Do you know what? This is what happens. Like, you'll be trying to improve something about yourself or in your career or whatever. And the women will just nitpick at everything you do. They do it to me all the time. I'll be trying to improve, the show or whatever. They'll just nitpick, drag you down. And that's what mothers do, right? It's like they're always telling you what you're not doing. They're always freaking out. Yeah. So I would love to see a world where there's more deadbeat mothers. And I think it's actually amazing because if the mothers are deadbeats, the women can go be exactly who they are, which is whores that want to go live Sex in the City lifestyle. Okay. But that's great for you young guys out there trying to get laid. So it's really a win-win because they can give birth, they can give the dad the kid, and they can F off. They don't have to ruin his life. They can go ruin some other guy's life who can just dump him. Like, they can just dump him. Yeah.
Demonstrated or shown any emotion. He's it's almost like it's just sort of gone over his head. But my daughter, it's had the highest impact on. She's very emotional and she gets really upset. She misses me and I have to watch myself. I have to check myself to make sure that I don't allow my emotions to reflect onto the children. Like, I don't upset them because I'm upset. I have to be really mindful of that, and it gets really, really hard because I just want to tell them, I'm trying to make this world a better place for you and I want you to be proud of me.
Yeah, and mothers care more about looking good to the world than helping their kids' world. They just have a tendency to care more about looking good to the planet rather than being there for their kids.
And I love them so much. Yeah. It's hard. I'm sorry for crying.
Don't apologize for crying.
It is still raw, but...
Michael says, my daughter was raised by me after the divorce and my ex-wife. She turned out pretty good. Away from my ex-wife, she turned out pretty good. Graduated high school, didn't get knocked up as a teenager, and wasn't a stripper. I've never met a kid raised by a single father that didn't turn out pretty good.
I mean, one of the reasons I wanted to come and talk to people is to help me feel more better in the decision and to know that I'm not alone.
What kind of bullshit is that? I came on the news to rationalize abandoning my kids to make me feel better about the decision. Men don't need that. If men are okay with being the villain, they understand sometimes you're just the villain in some people's stories. And they don't have to justify it. They just take the L. They don't have to prove that they're a good person. They just say, well, maybe I'm a bad person.
But to speak out, I think this is a really important issue that we're not hearing about.
Why did you want to talk about it tonight?
For me, I thought this would be really good for me because it's early days, and I thought it's part of that process in trying to cope. I wanted to hear what other people's stories were, and form a bit of a network so that I'd get some support. But I also think it's such a taboo topic that I've really wanted to put it out there, and I wanted to say to people that have been knocking me, this is where it ends. I'm not going to justify my decision anymore. This is it. I've backed myself 100%, and this is what I've chosen to do, and just put it out there. And I'm not going to talk about it anymore. And that's other people's worries.
Take that L, ladies. Take it. Just take it. All right, next we got another woman. Doug MPA, you're going to be... You know what's crazy? I have a mouse now. He's driving him nuts that I didn't have a mouse. And I still use the thing. Okay. Here, let's make this...
behind me, which is on Lydia Lane, to do a welfare check on a few days ago. Oakland County Sheriff's deputies came to this house behind me, which is on Lydia Lane, to do a welfare check on a woman. But when they got inside, they didn't find her, but they did find her 3 kids who had been abandoned and living in deplorable.
Yeah, Chris in the chat says, thanks, Pearl. I see what my mistake was. I married a good Christian girl instead of a crack addict. Yeah, the Christian girl, when she lies about you, people will believe her. Do you see what I mean? The crack addict, Doug MPA, could you put this in our show notes for Wednesday? Because this is like a working theory. The good Christian woman, if she drags you to court, they'll believe her, but they're not going to believe some crack addict. A crack addict can't do that much damage to your reputation. The crack addict's not going to remember to get an abortion. She doesn't even remember where she got her crack from, right? So I'm riffing on this, but I'm going to continue.
Conditions. Everybody's upset about it. Like, oh my God, this is right in our neighborhood. How could something like this happen?
Pontiac resident Emma Gross lives a few streets over from the home where the kids were found. The Oakland County Sheriff's Office says the house was covered in piles of trash as high as 4 feet in some rooms. There was even mold and human feces throughout the house.
It's pretty heartbreaking that the kids would have to.
That's so nasty.
Live under those conditions.
Sheriff Michael Bouchard tells me a 15-year-old boy and his 2 sisters, ages 12 and 13, hadn't been outside the home in years and were surviving off of weekly drop-offs of prepared food.
It kind of reminds me of the commercials you see where animals are living in very deplorable conditions. Well, kind of take that times 10, and that's what the kids were living in for years.
The boy told deputies that his mother abandoned them back in either 2020 or 2021. Deputies were recently called because the landlord...
Where is the father in this? She could have just given it to the father. Dustin said, I agree. Crackheads, if you can get a healthy baby, are better. Put that woman away and be a single dad. I had sex with a crackhead. She knew exactly where to get the crack.
Landlord of the home asked for them to do a welfare check.
The landlord said he hadn't seen her for some time, and I think, as our detectives mentioned, that hadn't paid her rent going back to October.
The kid's mother was arrested on Friday, and Bouchard says she had been living somewhere else in Pontiac. The kids hadn't been in school since they were abandoned.
Well, that's going to be a very long process to figure this all out, not just how they are, both mentally and physically, but how did this ever happen, to have these kids fall through the cracks on so many levels with relatives, the community, and with schools.
Have you ever seen anything like this before?
I've seen, child neglect and other situations where they're living in bad places, but not to this level and not for this extended duration.
The mother will be facing criminal charges, and in the meantime, her kids are now staying with a relative.
Good.
Now,
Yeah.
Time now for a little bit of electric church music.
So this woman left these children in a house by themselves and just said, feed yourself. Good luck. All right. So there's a woman leaves her kids with a grandma for a younger man. Okay. So she met a younger woman and now she's on live saying that she doesn't want to be a mother.
Hey, babies. Wait, don't go in the house yet. Why not? Hey, listen. Just go sit on the porch. Hey, listen. What do you think you're doing? I'm dropping them off. You're good. Listen, I met a younger guy, and he don't want no kids, and he don't want to, listen, he don't want to deal with them. And so I'm dropping these kids off so me and him can live our life. We want to travel. We want to explore the world, and I can't do that with kids. Oh my God. I can't. I cannot believe. It's time for me to be happy, and I just want to be happy and stress-free without these children.
Oh my gosh. Brian F. says, thanks for the work.
That's all I want. Then you should.
Thank you, Brian. That's very nice of you. I really appreciate the supers. I was demonetized for a long time, so I'm trying to rebuild my life and get this documentary out, so it's very appreciative. Women like this are what Red Pill, not only men, but children. Imagine so many mothers out there do not prioritize their children. They like the clout of the kids. They want the kids right now, but in the long term, they're just not fit to be parents. Yeah. And if they could give the kids to the father, I would love to see more of this. Get out of here.
Ask me, baby. I shouldn't have asked. It's respect, Angel. It's respect. Well, I hope that you respect my decision on moving on with my life with my new man and no kids. I'm not raising your kids. Well, I'm not either. Well, I don't know what to tell you because I'm not doing it. I'm just letting you know right now I'm not doing it. These are your 3 kids. I'm tired of being a single parent. I'm tired.
Yeah, call the dad. Give him to the dad. But you know what it is? I bet she hates the dad. Women would rather a kid be in like foster care than give it to the father. Let's see.
And made the decision to have 3 kids. That is not my responsibility. And this is the last time you're going to do this. You're not doing it anymore. It's your responsibility, not mine. Well, it was not my plan to be no single parent. Well, it's not my plan to be a grandmother that's going to take care of somebody's 3 kids because
how do you be a single parent of 3 kids? Like, how do you make that mistake 3 times?
They feel like they're not responsible anymore, that they don't want to be a mother anymore either. Well, look, I just can't. I can't do this no more. I'm tired. I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed.
Thank you, Roulette Wheel. Again, I appreciate it. It really does help the channel. I really think there's like waves we could make if we got 2 full-time people in house where the amount of content we could put out. But the thing is, it's going to take a lot of like fundraising basically to get them out here. So, but there's a lot of projects I really believe we could get done. So
it's the person. I can't do it. But you're going to have to do it. Do you understand that you're going to have to do this? Well, I don't want to. Okay, but I can't. Do you understand that I'm not going to take care of your children? I'm not getting ready to raise 3 kids. Do you know how old you never taught me how to be a mom. You didn't tell me what to do. You didn't help me. So now it's your turn. You take your grandkids so I can live my life stress-free. Okay, but the reason that I could not teach you how to be a mother, Angel, is because I was working a full-time job. That's not my problem. I cannot. I'm not. Just hear me out when I say I'm not.
Can you imagine being the kid, like watching this? Because kids, they don't always understand it later, but they will understand it when they get older. At the time, but they get older and things make sense, you know.
Of your 3 kids that you had.
All right, next we got one more.
Of your 3 kids that you had, because you're disrespectful. You just come over here and just drop them off. I have to ask you to watch your grandchildren. No, you're not talking about watching. You just told me I was going to have to raise them. I have to ask you to raise your grandchildren. Oh my God. They're your grandchildren. Oh my responsibility. I can't even believe I'm hearing this from you right now. I cannot believe that you actually think that I'm supposed to say it's okay, that I'm just going to just give up my life, my freedom, to raise 3 kids and not even mine. I raised you all, and that's all I'm going to do. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. So you can forget that. I'm not doing it. You did not raise us.
and I'm not raising mine. So it's your responsibility now. So if you don't mind, I can just drive off. You raise your grandchildren. You can do it better than I can. I can't do it.
I want you to hear me when I say this.
I hear you, but
I am not raising your 3 kids. I am not keeping them today. I'm not keeping them tomorrow. Matter of fact, this is all your responsibility from this point on. You should have thought about that after you had the first one, and then the second one, and then now you got 3.
Yeah, that my grandma's pissed. Let's see the last one.
Hey, girl, bye. Yeah, well, and I raised all 3 of y'all.
You did not.
Yes, I did.
You didn't.
You had everything that you wanted. I was right there to teach and instill you. I don't even know where this attitude is coming from. I didn't raise you like this, Angel.
Okay, well, listen. Being a single parent will make you angry, mad, upset, and stressed, and everything above, and I am tired.
But you cannot come over here and drop those children off and think that I'm supposed to say, yes, I'm going to do it, because I'm not. Now, look, hey.
There's no point in you telling them to get back in the car, because they're not coming with me.
I'm not
coming.
Come on here. Yo, come on and get in this car.
They're not coming.
I'm not.
For what?
Hey.
What is the point of them getting back in the car?
I'm not.
I'm not either, so.
Yeah, get in the car here. Come on here. Get in the car.
Oh my gosh.
Grandma loves you. All right, and I'll see you later. Angel, yeah, talking. We're done. You can go now.
That one is like, oh my gosh, he's old too. That poor kid.
Can go now. Go and pull off.
Don't open your legs to lovers who abandon their kids. No, I actually would encourage it, because then you guys can get the kids and raise them better. That, like, imagine if the dad was around and she could just give the kids to the dad. That would be amazing.
I don't know what you're sitting here for.
Out.
Don't get out. Don't get out. What in the world?
Get out.
Hey, look. Oh my God. No sheep.
Oh, he's so cute.
Hey, Angel, what is... No, this chick did... Oh, my God. She actually left. I am really... This chick just left. Now, these children are going in the house. Oh, my God.
So brutal. So crazy. All right. Now there's another article about a woman that left her kids. Okay. All right. So we got an article from Business Insider. The overwhelmed heroine of The Lost Daughter walked out on her kids. These are real life mothers did too. Okay. The new Netflix film, The Lost Daughter, takes a raw, honest look at the complexities of motherhood. Overwhelmed by her kids' demands and unable to focus on her career, protagonist Letta makes 3 difficult choices to walk out on her children and husband for 3 years. Judged and punished by herself and others, an older version of Letta plays a steep price for abandoning her kids. As the film makes clear, it's a taboo double standard in the world where fathers who walk away are considered normal, but mothers who do it are simply vilified. That is not true at all. To better understand what drives women who cares why these women make these choices? I do not care. I don't. You're a terrible person. Yeah, truly. Insider talked to 3 real-life mothers who left their families. Some departed for weeks and for others years. Their experiences, spousal abuse. Yeah, so you're getting abused by your spouse, so you're going to let them be abused, let the kids be abused. What a great mother. Floundering careers and years of grinding childcare without a break highlight the immense pressures on women who become parents. Moms are being tasked with such monumental and unrealistic expectations, says Hillary Berger, a licensed professional counselor who founded Work Like a Mother. Men are not expected to shoulder all of the psychological, educational, domestic, and enrichment management of the children in the same way that mothers are. And so women get burnt out. Danielle Lejeuni's children were 4, 6, and 10 when she left to attend a 6-week poetry residency in Prague, followed by a 2-week visit to Savannah, Georgia. Other than 2 brief trips in the prior year, it was the first time I had been away from the children except to have more children. Says Lee June, who also homeschooled her kids at the time. For 10 years, I hadn't been away from them for more than an hour, except when I was having C-sections to have the others. Her spouse did not support her decision to leave. In fact, he told their children she was never coming home. I called them every day, but they would beg and beg for me to come home, she said. As excruciating as it was to be away from her kids, it healed me in ways that I can't explain, she told Insider. The time away gave her clarity she needed to walk away from an unsupportive marriage and taught her a few things about motherhood. I learned that my children did not need me as much as I believed they did, said Lee June, who now has full custody of her children. How did she now get full custody? She regularly schedules babysitters guilt-free when she needs a few days away. If I hadn't gone on this residency, I would have ended up in a mental institution. It was truly the best thing I could have done, even if it was traumatic for my children. During the last few years of her marriage, so this is the next one. All right, during the last few years of her marriage, Liz Marie Monaco was just going through the motions. Her soon-to-be ex-husband wouldn't move out, and the situation had become toxic on so many levels. Of course it was toxic. I coped the best I could, thinking this was the best way to live life, she said. The last straw was that I didn't want my kids to watch this anymore. It was teaching them all the wrong things about love and marriage. So she decided to leave her 3 teenagers with their dad, moving half a mile away and making daily visits to cook, clean, and do laundry. Eventually, her visits tapered down to weekends. After 3 years, when her children were in their late teens, she moved out of state to be with her new fiance. I lost friends and family along the way, Monaco said, even though I did not just leave, and abandon them in the eyes of society and my family, I did. From time to time, still to this day, I feel pain in my heart for the hurt I caused to my kids. She said her 3 youngest kids had become more understanding of her choices as they grew older, but her oldest still wasn't talking to her. The stigma of a mom leaving is greater than if the dad leaves. A dad leaving is the norm, but when a mom does in the eyes of society, you're killing a living thing. One mother told Insider that her departure was prompted by a family crisis. After accepting a job in Vienna, her husband had left her in the U.S. to take care of their 3- and 8-year-old daughters, the older of whom needed to stay in the country for surgery. By the time her daughter recovered, he had unexpectedly moved to Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia-Herzegovina. Hoping to keep her family intact, the mother made the move with her daughters, only to face an isolating lifestyle in an unfamiliar city. When a sudden medical emergency forced her to return to the U.S. for care, she had enough room on her credit card for only one flight. Oh my gosh, she left the girls behind with their fathers. I couldn't take them with me, and I was utterly burned out by them, said the woman to whom Insider granted anonymity because her now ex-husband was physically abusive. Of course. Yeah, so let me get this straight. Your ex-husband was abusive, but now you're leaving your children with him. Okay. I believed at the time a mother needed to be, and I had no one to admit this to, not to mention the shame of failing at being a mom. Meanwhile, her husband told their daughters that their mother had left them to chase the American dream, but despite the circumstances, she didn't speak up for herself, nor did she disclose her return to California to anyone other than the few people I asked for help. There was a guilty relief in being sick and weak without having to be anything for my children, but also a terrifying feeling of being untethered, she said. Was I being selfish for trying to take care of me? Should I have stayed with them? Was being invisible really that bad? After 6 months, her husband returned her children to her, telling her that their children need their mother. Her abusive marriage was now in the rear view, but trying to keep up with the demands of running a household while as a single parent with a career is exhausting. I was resentful of how little my ex had done and how he was able to disappear for months on end to build his, by then, successful career, she said. I was so close to death by suffocation that I left everything and started my life over completely from scratch. Years later, when her oldest turned 16, she asked to move in with her father, who had since returned to California. The mother didn't want to split up the girls, so she pushed them both to live with him. The minute her daughters left, she dismantled her home and forced on writing full-time, something that she couldn't do as a single mom. Both of my sisters confronted me, said I was the worst mother they had ever seen, and refused to talk about to me for years, she said. There was absolutely guilt, but I think a lot of that was due to what I thought a mother needed to be and not what I was living up to. Yeah, so again, this is rationalization, because what women do is they rationalize bad decisions as good things. So, for example, the body positivity movement, bad thing, right? Being fat, bad. But we got to rationalize our bad decision to be a good decision. All right, so next we got someone normalizing abandoning the kids with the fathers.
Ladies, let's normalize leaving the kids with their fathers. It does not make you a bad mother, I promise. Now,
Yeah, again, so this is like step 2 of women's rationalization system, is I'm not doing the wrong thing, so now I need to get other women to also pretend they're not doing the wrong thing, so we can just gaslight everybody.
I just saw a TikTok of a 29-year-old with 5 kids, recently divorced. She's stuck at home while her ex-husband is parading his new wife on TikTok. Now, that just breaks my heart. And I think I know where it starts. You're in a marriage, you're in a relationship, you have a baby. As soon as you get the baby from the hospital, he really can't change nappies. The baby's too small. He doesn't like feeding the baby. The baby's too fragile. And that just continues on and on, to the extent that the man does nothing for the child except take Christmas pictures. And that's just about it. No, not on my watch. What you will do is, we made the baby together. It takes 2 to make a baby. So what you're going to do is you're going to feed the baby. You're going to do the nappy changes. I should be confident enough to go away for a weekend and know that you're able to take care of your kids. It doesn't matter if you're the dad, the mom, whatever. You should be able to take care of your own kids, because what's happening is, you have these men who barely take care of their kids. Then you get divorced, separated. You want to share custody. But how do you share custody with someone who was not even interested in taking care of the kids while you were in the marriage? And it should be a rule. Yeah,
they get so bitter when you date a younger, hotter woman. They do. There's nothing you could,
a second, a third, a fourth, if he does not know how to independently take care of the child that you currently have.
And men do it better than women. So this idea that men can't, take care of children, it's just false.
I am noticing that
men are better at
more.
Men are the nurturing gender. Men are the selfless gender. Men are the giving gender. Because men act in much more selfless ways. And why is it that when a woman raises a child, it's a criminal, but when a man raises a child, it's basically the same as 2 parents?
And more women are actually starting to give their children over to their fathers and put themselves on child support, and they're going on about their life. Now, before I get into what I'm going to say, I just want to say I am not judging any woman that has decided to do so. For whatever reason, you made that choice, and that's what you...
I am. But I just judge you as a bad mother, right? I mean, we can't all be good at things. There's something, guys, look, and I've talked about this. I'm just kind of a forgetful person. Like I leave, like right now, I got like 2 bottles here. I'm like a water bottle, like empty water bottle leaving connoisseur. I'm just being honest. I wish I wasn't like that. But if you ever ask me, are you good at picking up your water bottle, I would just say no. I have talents. It's just not one of them. And some women, being a mother, it's just not one of their talents. It's not what they're raised to do. It's not what they're meant to do.
You felt was best. But also, I ain't even mad at y'all. I just want to go ahead and say that. As a single mom, I'm not even mad at y'all. Now, do I feel like I could be one of those women to stand in that line and do so? No. However, I'm not even mad at y'all. Because it's one thing to, now I get it, one night stands and situationships, things happen. Okay. But when you're in a relationship with a person and men can just abandon ship, just jump ship mid-pregnancy, or this man changes mid-pregnancy and now this person isn't who you want to be with anymore. And before y'all get started in my comments, imagine those women who are married and they have 3 and 4 and 5 kids and the man just abandoned ship. So before y'all, you need to be married. No, it's a lot of women who are married and they tired too. It's so many things that can happen, that do happen during pregnancy. And I ain't even mad at them. I'm not. And then some women get tired of doing it alone. It's hard. Some women get tired of doing it alone. Some women get tired of begging for help. Some women have no village. Now, granted, I do have people that I do trust that do help me when I'm really in need and when I really have something to do. It's no need for me to go through the line of those people. Y'all know who y'all are, and I love y'all dearly. And women just simply can't handle it. So I'm not even mad at y'all. I'm not. A lot of women are just sliding those children onto their fathers and putting themselves on child support. And yeah, that's what we have now. Yeah.
Yeah. So what a lady. Amazing. So now we're going to do a call in. So please put the link in the chat. And I want to know if you guys know any women that abandoned their children. Maybe your mother abandoned you. And why do you think that mothers are able to get away with abandoning their kids when men aren't? So a couple rules for calling in. First, guys, here's the thing. I need you to come on and give me like a 1 minute, 2 minute story. Then if me and Doug MPA think there's something like entertaining or interesting, we'll keep pressing. But please don't come on and ship, like if you've invented something or you have something you want to plug. I do appreciate it, but I do want to stick to the topic of the show. Again, I appreciate every watcher. So, but we got to have some ground rules. Yeah, and so I prefer the best callers are ones that give their personal experience. I knew this person that did this, or this happened in my life. And then, yeah, if it's interesting, we'll ask more questions. Otherwise, it also depends on how many callers. If we get a lot of callers, sometimes we got to rush them. It's nothing personal against you guys. But yeah, Doug MPA, are you on the line?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I love this topic, man.
So
love it because.
Oh, go ahead.
No, it's because the double standards is disgusting. There are women advocating towards leaving their children, and guys, I always say, if a woman has a child against your will, all she should get is a check, and keep your veins cold. Because there's no such thing as you have to do the right thing or letting a woman shame you into being a father. Don't do it, guys. Why? And just be ready, especially if she's a demon. If she's one of those demons where you have to jump through hoops and she wants to control your life through your kid, you just leave that kid behind. You don't owe that child or her anything. And just be ready for when that kid is 14 or 15 years old. When they come knocking on your door to try to ask you what happened, you say, look, I never wanted this. I never wanted you. And I didn't want to be around that woman. But you don't owe these women anything. But you're still shamed for it. But women are celebrated for leaving their kids behind. Live your life. You know, you owe it to yourself. It's insane. And remember, these women choose to have these kids. They choose it.
Do you know any deadbeat mothers personally?
Do I know any deadbeat mothers? I don't. I don't know any women that abandoned their children. I guess I don't run in those circles, but yeah, I don't. No, I don't.
I was telling you earlier, I knew one. Well, I didn't know her, but I knew the son of one. And yeah, it was basically she abandoned the family for years and like left the kids with like a disabled dad. So he was like, the dad was like in a wheelchair. He was disabled and she just left.
I do know one. So this guy I used to know in high school, and then when I was going to community college, and him and I were good friends. And then he left all of his friends behind to be with this woman that we all couldn't stand, and they had 3 kids, and it was one of those situations where he was a professional and she was a stay-at-home mom, but she was into that multi-level marketing stuff.
Oh no!
So
she left it to do multi-level marketing.
No, not yet though. So
okay.
Their whole marriage, he'd have to say, "Oh yeah, helping my wife with her business, and she's such a business owner doing all this multi-level marketing stuff." Well, she because she was from Colorado. She reconnected with a high school friend. And she left him to move to Colorado and left him with his 3 sons. Yeah. That's the only one I know.
Was he happy though? Like, was he kind of like, I don't want to say it, but if she's crazy enough to do that, she was probably tormenting him, So yeah. Was he like kind of relieved in a way, or no? Was he like devastated?
Well, I don't really know, because he married a single mother right after she left. I think he was single for a year and a half, and then he got married again to some single mom.
Oh. Well.
So I don't even, I mean, he's making it, but I think she has 2 kids and he has 3, so they have the Brady Bunch going on.
Well, do you think that men, not that men can do what they want, but would you recommend a guy, would you still say a guy not mess with a single mother if he has kids?
I think that people with children should date each other and leave the people that don't have children alone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say if you're a guy with kids, date a woman with kids. You both have skin in the game. But leave the childless people alone. Because I don't date. Guys, don't do single mothers. Don't sleep with them. Don't date them. Don't marry them ever. Leave them alone. There are too many women out there. We're on track to 50% of women being single and childless. Why deal with a single mom if you don't have any kids? Why?
Yeah, totally. Is there anyone on the line or no?
Yep. This person it says Zoom user. It says Zoom user. Are you there? It just says Zoom user going once. Zoom user going twice. I'm going to put you in the waiting room and come back to you. We have Carlos. Guys, make sure to like the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're on our way to 3 million. Thanks for everyone for getting us to 2 million. Really appreciate it. Thank you for everyone in the Audacity chat. And thank you to all the regulars on YouTube. Thank you for being here, everyone. Carlos, are you there?
I'm here. How about you?
Hi, Carlos. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
You've called in before, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm the guy with single father, 4 kids.
Oh, oh yeah. Okay. So tell me, you were in this exact situation, weren't you?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's, and I told you I called a couple of weeks ago and I told you being a single father isn't that hard. But yeah, that abandonment thing, when I was in court, I used that word and the judge got mad at me because I used the word abandonment. And he's like, well, we're not going to use that word. I was like, but that's exactly what happened. She left. She wouldn't come home so I can go to work, so I can provide for my kids. And I lost my job and everything like that. And she threatened me with contempt of court and threatened me to put me in jail because I kept on talking about abandonment.
Mm-hmm.
And
was it a woman or a man?
Oh, it was a woman, Judge.
Of course.
So it's but that's exactly what it was. I mean, I didn't work for a year. I didn't I had to find childcare for all my kids, it took me a whole year to find childcare. And then the job where I got fired from, where they let me go, but they knew the situation, what was going on. So once I found childcare, they told me, if you can find that, you can come back. So I got everything back that I had before right now. I just don't have a wife anymore.
So go ahead.
What would you say to these women? Because they're like, how what's that say where these women question how single fathers would be able to take care of their children while they're working or something like that? They're like, I don't know how men would be able to do it.
I'm doing it.
Exactly. So what would you say to a woman that would try to say that single fathers work and they're just incapable of being single fathers? What would you say to them?
They underestimate us. Like even in court, like the judge had the same, because I mean, I wanted to change my judge in family court, but I was like, no, like I want her to see the full scale of my ex-wife. And, my ex-wife got arrested for methamphetamine. She got arrested for 3 DUIs and all this stuff. So now that I still have the same judge, she sees the full picture now. She knows that I'm not like, I'm the capable parent.
Do you have any?
And she, she tries to praise me that you're the kids rock and all this other stuff. And I told the judge, I was like, look, I don't need praise. I don't need any validation. It's just my job. This is what I'm supposed to do. I don't need validation for doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Do you have any guy friends that had to like fight for custody of their kids?
I know some people. It's just that they didn't fight hard enough. Like, I mean, with my whole case, I didn't hire a lawyer. I did it all myself. I looked up the laws. Mm-hmm. In all states, for any single fathers out there, if you're about to go through a divorce or anything like that, in all states, there's the best interest of the child. You need to look at that. That's what the judge is going to focus on. And try to avoid talking bad about it by the other parent, but you have to try to show the unfitness of the other parent. If he's going out and partying, drinking and stuff like that, and someone's babysitting them and whatnot, that's going to look bad. The judge isn't going to like that.
I was just wondering if you prefer this than like going through the court process of like fighting for because Wednesday I'm doing a show on like the pros and like, it's almost better to get pregnant a woman that's so crazy that you get custody rather than like going to court for 18 years. I was just wondering if you'd agree with that or not.
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be with that kind of woman in the first place. Mm-hmm. My ex-wife had, I mean, when I met my ex-wife, I was 6 years older than her. So, I mean, she went through some traumatizing stuff. And at that time, and not knowing about mental health mm-hmm. and how it really affects people if they don't address it, especially women, I felt bad for her.
So
and
she kind of
comfort her.
So she wasn't always like that. She kind of went off the deep end.
Yeah. I mean, and I seen in our marriage, like, I mean, there was things in our marriage, like she constantly accused me of looking at other women and wanting to sleep with other women. And I just didn't want to. Like, I had a very beautiful ex-wife. Mm-hmm. And it never stopped. And it kind of like drove me crazy. I didn't understand why she was doing it. And I did therapy for about 6 months and, was brutally honest with the therapist. And she was like, well, it seems like that she had childhood trauma. And I was like, yeah, she did. I mean, she went through some stuff that no child should go through. And now that I know that, I could teach my sons to look for that in a woman and teach my daughters, like, use their mom as an example for my daughters.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think there's a stigma, or why don't you think society comes down with the same visceral on single mothers that abandon their families than that they do to single fathers?
I honestly don't know. I know like fathers, and this is the crazy thing about single mothers abandoning their children, and just look at it like this, and it's going to sound crazy, but like animals in the animal kingdom, mama bears, lions, like they take care of the children. They don't have a conscience. Animals go off instinct. They don't have a conscience. But human beings, human women have consciences. So when they do something like that, there's something severely wrong.
Mm-hmm. Doug MPA, you got any other questions for him?
No, he's 100% true. And here's the thing. This whole feminism thing, the social media is going to show us that this myth that women are nurturers, that women are just morally superior because they're women is a lie. Because we're going to have more women abusing positions of power, abusing the elderly, abusing children, just doing horrible things. It's going to take a little bit, but women, they're going to show their true colors as they get more and more and more. And all you can do is minimize the damage.
Yeah, it's truly great. Like feminism. I mean, you have school teachers, women sexually abusing kids. You see it all the time right now.
Yeah,
it's like a phenomenon.
There was a weekend last year where 6 teachers in one weekend all got arrested for sleeping with their young male students. Yeah. And also, there is enough of these happening where, Pearl, did you know that if a teacher sleeps with a minor young boy and gets pregnant and has his kid, his parents will have to pay her child support?
It's crazy, man.
Insane.
It's crazy.
Sweet Aunt T says, because women get all the privileges without the responsibilities, and men get all the responsibilities without the privilege. Thank you, Sweet Aunt T. You might be one of my only female viewers. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, I'm trying to have her call in because she said that she left her single mother behind. Call in. All right, Carlos, we're going to move on to the next caller, okay?
Thanks for calling.
All right, take it easy.
Call in anytime, buddy.
I will. Thank you.
Every time he calls in, it's a good call. Every single time. So
yeah, that was a great caller. And I want to tell you guys why. He tells the story. He checks in to make sure he doesn't drone on. And it's not to be rude to you guys that don't do it. I'm sure I've done it at times too, but we want to increase the quality of the show. So yeah, learn from Carlos. Who's up next?
Next up, we have Chop. Are you there? Chop, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
How's it going, Chop? What a name. Is that your real name or a screen name?
Yeah, the full name is Chopper.
Oh, cool. Where are you calling out of? You sound Midwestern.
I'm actually from North Carolina, but I actually live in Minnesota right now.
Okay, yeah, I hear a little accent from the South.
But I'll try to cliff note it real quick about the whole, because it's like a year long. I was in the military. I was about to deploy in 2013, January. We were both having real bad problems. My kid was like half a year. She told me like before I deployed that she was going to cheat on me, that she didn't want to be a part of my life no more, and that she was going to make sure that I never got to see my kid again. And so I said, all right, we're going to go to court. They removed me from the house. She called my command, got me kicked out of the house. I deployed. We were at Washington at the time, and she moved back to North Carolina. My sister has actually played a huge part of it, where my sister played as kind of like a double agent with her. My ex would kind of like drop off my son with my sister, and it started out with just a couple of days, then it turned into weeks and then months towards the end, and then she just kind of disappeared, and my sister called the police, got an abandonment on her, and I went to the court, took it to the court. And the court actually made me sit in the courtroom for 2 weeks. I had to come in every day at 9 a.m. when the court opened until it closed every day, just to see if she would show up. And she didn't. But they made me wait 2 weeks. And my command did not like that. But I got back, like it was 2014 when I got back. And that's, yeah.
Was it one child or two?
It was only one.
One? And what was the age of the kid at the time?
At the time, at the start, it was like half a year. I got custody at 1.5.
Wow, that's great. So you got full custody?
Yeah, she just completely disappeared. Like I got court orders of getting granted full custody, and she got a restraining order. And so I was like, I don't know who's going to deliver it. So I did it because I had to go back to North Carolina to pick up my son because my sister had him at the time. And so I gave it to her and never heard from her since. And I've had custody since 2014 till now. Just never heard from her.
And she hasn't come back at all?
No, never heard anything.
What would you do if she tried to come back?
There's nothing. Like, I would, there's nothing she can do.
Because the kid, is it a daughter or son?
Son.
So your son's like what, 12, 14?
Yeah, 12 going on 13 in July.
Okay.
Dang. And she's been gone the whole, I'm telling you, women are just heartless, man.
Wait.
Just ruthless.
Do you know what it was? Like, was she on drugs or like?
So the thing is that every time, like, my unit, we went to the field a lot. I would say I spent more time in the field than I ever did at home, whether it was deployment or it was just training. Like, we would literally go out for a month, come back for a week, go out for another month. And each time when I went on these like field problems, she would just text me either like she's taking these pills while she's pregnant, taking these pills, or just alcohol. Like, she would send me a bunch of pictures of that kind of stuff.
Oh, so,
and it's
okay.
And there's nothing I can do. I can't just go home. Like, I'm sitting in like I said, I was stationed at Washington.
Mm-hmm.
I would be all the way in Louisiana, or I would be in California, and there's just nothing I could do.
And how has being a single father been? Has it affected your career a lot, or what did you end up doing?
So what's crazy is that because going through her, she took a lot. Like, we literally I decided to get out of the military so that way I could raise my kid.
Mm-hmm.
And we started out pretty much living in the car. Then a friend took us in. It was just me and him. Then I went back to North Carolina. I did school. I got my computer science degree. And like now I'm a production manager, and I'm closing on the house here soon. Just been me and him the whole entire time.
And so when you hear women say that being a mother is the most difficult job in the world, do you agree? Do you disagree?
No, I don't agree at all. It's not hard if you know how to discipline a child. If you just let them go off and do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
No, because to me, I believe that part of parenting is fear, but not fear where like they're scared of everything you do, but it's respect.
Right.
And like, I feel like at a certain age, children are not going to respect a parent that's just always lenient and doesn't seem to really care. Because it's like, I see a lot of women, like I've dated one single mother, and that was a never again kind of thing. Never going with a single mother, because I just seen how like the child became, and it's just like, nah, I'm good.
And could you imagine if it were a woman, a child from a single mother who is raised by a single mother, and in the same household as your child who was raised by you and who's well disciplined? It would be chaos.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. That was a great call. Doug MPA, you got any other questions for him?
No, but just keep it up, man. And I'm telling you, I just don't be surprised if she doesn't try to swoop in right around high school graduation and be like, I'm ready to have a relationship and blah, blah, blah. I think that your son will be.
What would you do if she did that? Would you like allow your son to see her? Or, like...
Well, that's the thing though, is I have told my son who she is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've never been the type of person where it's just like, I'm going to tell you all the bad things. Mm-hmm. I said all the good things about her, who she was and all that. And it's like, I even told him that if he ever wanted to meet her, I'll do everything I can to like set that up.
See, that's what I was telling you earlier, Doug MPA. Men just like, they'll never, women can do so much wrong and they'll still try to like facilitate a relationship. Sorry, keep going.
Well, they say only 10% of men put their baby's mother on child support. It's like less than 10% of men that could actually do.
If I can chime in on that. So part of going through the divorce was they did the child support thing. She was supposed to pay $70 a month. That was her child support. I never got any of it. But when we were going through the hard times, I needed to get healthcare for my kid. Part of going to get the Medicaid or Medicare, whatever it is, you have to like supposedly file. Yeah. And like put them on child support. So they did the child support thing, agreed to the $70 because that was in the court order, and they never found her. And what's funny is that the child support enforcement officer, it was a female. She told me like this is common, that they never find the woman. Like she told me like there's many cases where they just never find the female, especially if they're young and they're decent looking. They can just hide. They just find a man and the man will take care of them. And they usually don't find them unless like it's like 10 to 15 years later when their looks are gone.
And they can't find a guy to take care of them anymore.
Yep. And this is coming from a female support officer. And I'm like, all right. And so they just, after a year of them supposedly looking, they just closed the case and never reopened.
Wow.
There you go.
Is it more lenient from like, I'm assuming when it's a woman, they don't try it like, do they do the same thing if it's a man in another state or something? Do you have any idea or no?
I
like if a guy
couldn't
tries
tell
to
you.
disappear?
I just know that North Carolina, especially being like a military town too, they're very, very strong when it comes to child support. Like you give them any idea, they'll do everything they can to get it. Because like they're taking some of that money. They keep some of it. They don't send it all to the child. But them just giving up and just whatever, I guess it's like with women, either they're lenient or she was able to hide very well.
Okay. Doug MP, you got any other questions for him?
I was going to say, thank you for your service, man. And honestly, the best thing you did was get custody of your son, man. Seriously, because we need more sons raised by their fathers. He's going to turn out great. And the best part about it is, he knows what's going on. You already know, like the kids know. So just keep doing what you're doing, man. Thank you for your service and calling anytime, buddy. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you all for what y'all are doing too. It's been a long time coming. Thank you.
Oh.
Dustin says the reason for women getting away with it is because it's so terrible. Why did women get away with abortion? Because we listen and we don't judge. LOL. It's funny. That's from Dustin on the website. You guys get unlimited super chats on the website. Shibby Fath, amazing content. I am a disabled wife. I always do my best to give my all to my husband. He and many men are incredible and do so much. Thank you. Well, I appreciate the super. Thank you. These really do help, guys, so I appreciate it. Who's next?
It just says Zoom user.
All right. Zoom user 7254. Welcome to the show.
I'm such a boomer with this stuff. I don't even know how to rename the damn thing.
That's all right. I hear an accent. Where are you calling out of?
Australia, Queensland, Gold Coast.
Oh, cool.
What do we call you?
Craig.
Good to meet you, Craig.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
So what's your story with a woman abandoning her child? Do you know someone or did it happen to you?
Yeah, no, I know someone. I dated someone, and this girl was like beautiful, talented, smart, had like a promising like career. But she was kind of like two-timing me and this other guy, right?
Okay.
And
all the best stories start like this.
Oh, man.
It was in two different countries. So she was literally flying between Australia and New Zealand because I was doing something in New Zealand. The other fellow was doing something in Australia. And I didn't know for a while, but like I finally found out when like I called her and she was in the car with her other castmates, let's call it.
Okay.
And I go like, all right, babe, I love you. And for the first time, she didn't say I love you in reply. I was like, hey, that's weird. She's like, okay, I gotta go. And I'm like hearing these people in the background. I was like, oh, okay. And I put two and two together and I figured out, what was happening. But here's what happened is we break up. They get engaged and then she gets pregnant. They never got married. And she had a lot of trauma, like childhood trauma. She lost her dad when she was young, and I just could tell like she did not want to grow up. I think she thought this family lifestyle might be good, but once the kid came along, I think her trauma turned into addictions and drug addictions and alcohol addictions, and she threw away her career.
What career was she in?
She was an actress.
Oh,
I kind of figured that.
I thought it was gonna be something, but keep going.
Yeah. So it got to the point where he had to, I don't know whether she wasn't paying her child support or whatever or something, but they'd separated for I don't know how long, and then he ended up coming into the hospital where she was. Maybe she had overdosed or something, I don't know, but he got her to sign the papers in her hospital bed. This is what she claims anyway. And I think now he has full custody.
Oh, wow.
And I hate to say it, but I think it's for the best, like.
Why would you hate to say that? You don't have to give qualifiers around here, man. You remember where you're at.
I still feel for her because she's an amazing person.
You kind of liked her, huh? I can hear it in your voice.
Yeah,
was the sex really good?
Yeah, out of all the girls I've dated, that was like one that I thought she could have been the one, But
you're glad she wasn't now, right?
Wait. You thought that a 2-timing skeezer was gonna be the one?
Okay, get this though. This will make you even think I'm even more of a simp.
Yeah.
So 10 years go by, and I'm living in LA, and then I'm like, I decided to move back to Australia, and we started talking. I don't know how, but we just started talking, and she was like, "Oh, well, I want you to come home. I miss you. I just need you to come, basically come save me." Talk.
No, did you do it?
Well, I'd been back in Australia less than 3 days. She was down in Sydney. That's another state. And she's like, "Come here right now. I need you right now. Just get on a freaking plane."
And you went, didn't you?
Hang on.
You totally went.
I went with the intention just to help this person.
Oh, my God.
That was not your intention. How was the sex? Was it good? How was the sex? Was it good?
Yes.
Marissa, how was the sex? Was it good?
Did she give you that? I need my phone bills and rent paid sex. Did she give you that kind of sex?
She was like, yes. I don't want to get into that. I'm a gentleman. All right. But I was going to at least see if I could just help this person. I was going to start with that, and I was clear. I was like, "Look, we ain't jumping into anything. I'm still pretty messed up or hurt by what you did."
Are you on Twitter? Yeah. Can you send me a picture of what she looks like? I just want to see. I need to I won't share it with the chat, but I want to see how hot. She had to be so beautiful.
She was gorgeous. She was like a star here in the country. Picture a 22-year-old Scarlett Johansson, because she was South African too.
Yeah, you were done.
But just gorgeous, beautiful.
Okay.
Like nine and a half,
Okay.
With talent, really good.
So 10 years later, when you knew her younger as a 9.5, 10 years later and a kid, what was her rating?
Now it was a 7.5.
Dang, this girl must have been fine.
But a lot of these women,
she had really good boobs, didn't she? I just know it.
No, she used to have great perky little nice tits. And then she did what all the girls do here was she got a tit job. She didn't even need it, because that's what's good about kind of tits that aren't too big to begin with. As they old, they don't get all super saggy. You can get a 35-year-old with some nice still perky tits, but I don't know. And she had the lips done. They all get the lips done. Yeah.
So
but anyway,
so you went to go help her out. You banged a little bit, but what ended up happening?
Yeah, so I was actually like, all right, we ain't doing that because we ain't crossing that line because I don't know how I feel about you just yet. But, and then something else happened. I was like, I went back up. I stayed there for a night, and then I came home, and her daughter and baby daddy were here, literally down the road. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I was like, hey, I saw your daughter. And she's like, oh yeah, she's with her grandmother or something, right? I'm like, oh man, you should come and just hang out, you know? So I invited her to come stay here, and then she managed to get like 4 or 5 days with her daughter. And I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna meet this girl and I'm just gonna see that dude in her, and I'm just gonna be like, oh, this is too much. Can't do this. But get this, man. When I met this girl, like this little, I don't know, she would have been 7 years old or something. She was such an innocent, sweet, sweet little person that I just melted instantly. And I kind of forgot all about it. And I was like, damn it. Like, and maybe because, you know, I've been like clucky lately, or whatever the male term for cluckiness is. I kind of liked having this little family scenario just in my house, just watching them do like mother-daughter stuff, you know? And me and the daughter got along so well. And I was like, oh man, what is going on here? But what actually ended it was like, I said to her, I was like, I don't want to have sex with you until I know that maybe we're going to try again. And I don't know if I want to do that. So once she heard that there was no sex on offer, yeah. So that's that.
Yeah, someone in the chat said, were you the simp? It sounds like it. Do you think you simped in this situation?
No, if I was just simp, I would have just taken her on board.
Okay.
I would have taken her back. I would have enjoyed all the great sex, but I gave her no D. She got no dick.
Oh, so you didn't even hook up second time around? You just hung out with the daughter?
Yeah. I think I let her blow me in the steam room. But yeah, no, I was like, and I didn't want to be like rooting when her daughter was always in the next room and stuff. Like she was like, I'll come sneak into the room in the middle of the night. I'm like, no, don't do that. Come on.
Look, over here, I don't care how you dodge the bullet. I don't care how you dodge a bullet as long as you dodge it, bro. And here's the thing. She came back around 10 years later. She saw you're doing better. She's doing worse. That's the ultimate revenge. Just do better, man.
Yeah. But anyway, so moral of the story is I think in this scenario, the kid is better off with just the dad.
Yeah, seems like it. Clue Studio says, I love the movie trailer. Good to see you at 2 million subs and monetized. I'm proud of you. Thank you, Clue Studio. Zachary G says, thank you. Doug MP, you got any other questions for him?
You dodged a bullet. Do you have any kids or no?
No, I would love kids, but I haven't met the one yet.
Well, if you don't have any kids, so stay away from single moms, man. You're better than that. Stay away from them. All right, buddy.
All right.
Just Craig, call in anytime, buddy. Always good talking to you.
Great. Thanks for having me, guys.
What a great call. That was great.
That was hilarious. See, guys, these are awesome calls. These are all, we're totally fine with it going longer, but we have to be asking the questions, not a monologue, you know. So these are awesome. Guys are awesome because when you give suggestions to men, like when Kevin Samuels had callers that were women, they would just do whatever they wanted. But like the guys, if you tell them, please do this when you call in, look at that. That was an amazing, great 3 callers we had.
Dude's a total Chad. So that girl he's talking about was probably as gorgeous as he said she was. Yeah. Especially, if he was an actor and she was an actor, I guarantee you she was probably just drop dead gorgeous. And I'm sorry, guys, there's a certain level of hot that if you're under a certain age, you just get drunk off the hotness. That's why some of the most beautiful women are the worst in bed. You want to know why?
Oh my gosh.
It's because
I've heard that from a. Okay, keep going. I've heard that.
No, go ahead. You've heard from what?
I've heard that from 3 different guys that like that the best sex they've ever like the hottest girl they've ever been with was like some of the worst sex they ever had.
I can tell you why. It's because a lot of mids or nerdy women, they know that they're not going to just get by on their looks. So they have to like research their sex game, and they have to satisfy their man with their sex game because they don't have it in the looks department. Some of those beautiful women, the guys that sleep with them are so enamored with their looks that they don't have the conversation with them saying, you suck in bed. That's why they're so terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next up, we have Drew.
Yes.
Drew, how's it going?
It's going. How are you?
I'm good. Where are you calling out of? I hear, I'm going to guess south.
Yeah, Middle Tennessee.
Nice. Okay.
But
so
I got some good stories for you.
All right, let's hear them.
Well, I had my first child at 19 with a kind of high school sweetheart. Became an RN at 20, moved to Middle Tennessee here. I started working at 21 full time as a nurse. We had our second child at a couple years later when I was 23. But things went after that kind of just went crazy for her. She started doing drugs and basically having sex with a guy that I was playing golf with. So let's just say that changed things real quick.
What drugs was she on?
Well, probably just anything and everything.
Like crack,
a few years later, I ended up getting full custody of him because of everything, though. So, but that was when I was 25.
Son or a daughter?
I have two daughters.
Two daughters. And how old was the youngest when you got custody?
2. My oldest was 6.
Okay. And when did she go off the deep end? Like around what age?
She was probably 21 to 22. And I don't know if it's really a...
Sorry, I meant of the kids. Like how old were the kids when she started to go off the deep end?
Oh, she was a 1 and 4.
Okay. So I was just curious if she did drugs during the pregnancies at all, or if they were like...
No, nothing like that. I always kind of thought it was the postnatal or the baby blues afterwards. So, just never came back from that.
I was curious was there any character traits that you identified, like in hindsight, that maybe you could have saw this coming, or would you just say there was no way?
Well, I hate to say it, we kind of grew up in Appalachia, so it was kind of the can't take the trailer trash out of the trailer girl, if that makes sense. She just so wanted to go back, I think, to that kind of lifestyle, which I kind of took us away from to, have a better life, basically.
Okay.
But when I went to court and stuff, basically what started all this, my oldest one, she was 5 at the time, called and said the guys they were with threw her against the wall. So that's what kind of got everything started for me to go to court and get a lawyer and basically, start fighting, get some stuff on paper and get them full time. But with that being said, when I did go to court, with everything that she was doing, just drugs and craziness, getting arrested and moving the kids around from house to house and school to school, it didn't take much to actually get full custody of them.
Wow. So how many times did you have to go to court to get custody?
Well, it was the same, it was only one time basically, but you gotta go for like the 3 trial and do a trial here and there. But her parents were on my side, and her mom actually moved in with me after all this to help me raise them. Because where I was just working 12-hour shifts and needing somebody to kind of be home. So her mom did step up and, kind of fulfill the motherly role. But sadly, that was a 3rd generation that she had to raise.
And did the daughter fight? Did she kind of throw her hands up and say she didn't want him anyway?
Well, she didn't get any type of lawyer, and she came to the court and basically said, I'm a good mom, and all this is lies, but there's just so many people saying, that they've seen it, and the police reports that there's no way that could happen. But after I got full custody, even 15 years later now, she's never tried to come back, and probably seen my oldest one maybe 30 days in the last 15 years. Then my youngest one, she's probably seen her for 90 days of the last 15.
And what do you say to mothers that say being a mother is the hardest job on the planet? Do you agree?
Well, I think half the battle just with any parenting is just showing up. If you can show up and put a smile on the kid's face and just don't try to do harm and try to make things better. It's not rocket science, but showing up is half the battle.
Okay. What? I'm trying to figure out a way to ask this question. Do you think that you've had an easier time than someone that had to like go back in court for years? Like someone like whose wife maybe had money and like could fight, or like people that have done 50-50? Just anecdotally what you've seen. Go ahead.
If you got two parents who are doing good, I mean, there's no reason not to have two parents, as long as everybody's on the same page and that type of deal. But if you're going to have one being a hindrance or destroying lives or, that type of thing, it's kind of like anything else. You don't want them in your life.
Yeah.
I hate to say, it's just these kids had a better life than they would have had with her being involved at all.
Yeah. Doug MPA, you got any other questions for him?
I don't.
Cool. Well, thanks for calling in. Call in anytime. Okay. That was great.
All right. Sounds good. And,
sorry. Hold on.
Was he about to
bring it back in?
Okay.
Hold on 1 second. Dropped him out too quick. Hey, Drew, what were you saying? I accidentally dropped you out.
Oh no, I'm just saying. I was just telling her I appreciate what she does for women and everybody else in the community that we're in. So
cool. Well, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Thanks for calling in.
Cool. All right. We're gonna let in.
You're like a demon with the.
Jay, are you there?
Hey Jay, how are you?
Jay, Jay. Jay, are you there? Jay going once. Jay going twice. Jay going 3 times. I'm gonna put you in the waiting room, and I'll bring you back in after the next person.
I want to see how good I can get at guessing where people are from.
Cool. Well, you've been doing a good job so far.
Yeah.
Okay. Brando.
Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hey, Brando. How are you?
Hi. Wow, what a trip. I'm good. It's crazy to talk to you. I'm going to mute myself here. I got you on another device.
Cool. Okay, wait, let me guess. I'm going to guess you're either West Coast or Midwest. I'm going to say West Coast.
That's funny. Actually, South Carolina. I spent 5 years in Maryland, but mostly South Carolina. I grew up Myrtle Beach most of my life.
I do not hear the Southern accent. It's not too strong with you.
It's a weird one. But I'm a single father. I've been a father. My daughter, she's 7. Man, I'll tell you, I went through a whole ride. I didn't know what narcissism was and gaslighting and stuff was beforehand. So I'll start from the beginning. So I'm 32. My mom's a nurse. My dad was a police officer. They never did drugs or drank or anything. And so I had a really good childhood growing up. And it was very straight-laced. I have a brittle bone disease. I've broken about 140 bones in my life. I got spinal fusion from neck to waist. And so when I found out, I met my child's mother on the internet through a site. It was called Earth We Are One. I was going through a hippie phase.
Oh, God,
hey,
okay.
You get the spirituality thing, and you go down those holes, and you meet these chicks, and they promise you the world, and you're like, oh, all right, I'll start a family with this white picket fence dream, and we went down that road. It wasn't long before I found out, there was some odd behavior and how she was. And then you start finding out how she grew up. Her parents weren't like mine. They were abusive and they did drugs and drank. And she did, she used to cut herself and she used to do pills, and she was very promiscuous with the neighbor boy down the street. So total opposite of what I was used to. And so I was like, yeah, we live 500 miles apart. She lives up north in Ohio, and I'm in South Carolina, and I meet her. I'm on the internet, and I say, hey, all right, well, come on down here. I'll save your complex, and I'm like, I'll take care of you. Just come to me. I got a job. I got cars. She didn't have a driver's license. She didn't have any money. She was scrounging cans out of her cabinets. Sorry. It's a wild story.
Okay. So what happened? When did she how long till you guys had the kid, and when did she leave?
So I moved her down with me. We lived in an RV, and we were together for about a year, and then we were kind of realizing things weren't gelling, and so I took her back. I was going to take her back to Ohio, and on the final day, as like a final goodbye, we had sex one last time, and that's when she got pregnant. And I found out.
I keep telling you that closure stuff, man. Bro, I told you. I told Pearl about this.
Yeah, and a few weeks later I found out, and this is where you make the decision as a man. This is what makes the boys into men. Whether you turn and run or you face your choices. And I doubled down. So we were going to break up, and I said, look, we're going to have a kid. I'll double down here. I moved to Ohio. I moved my whole life up there. Rented an apartment for us, got us all ready. We had the child up there. And then I bought us a house in South Carolina about a year later. And then we moved down to South Carolina, lived there for a few years. And then I got a job. And mind you, I got all the broken bones and the rods in my back and stuff. And so I get the job because she refused to work. Mm-hmm. She wanted to do the stay-at-home mom thing. I got that. And after, the second year in, like, all right, well, somebody's got to pick up the bills. I got to go back to work. I can't afford, our lifestyle and disability, So anyways, the stress builds, and then, but then the narcissist, she starts calling me a narcissist, and I don't know what this is. And she starts, accusing me of these things. And then I didn't, it all blows up. A year later, it all blows up. She tries to flee the state with the child. And go to live with her parents. Her parents are going divorce. They're all still doing drugs. I'm trying to save the child at this point. So I do emergency custody.
Is it like the 6 months old-ish?
She'd be 2. She was just turning 2 at this point. And so I petitioned for emergency custody with the court, and based on all the evidence, it was very clear that the father had the stable situation for the child. The mother was basically camping in a tent at that point. Because she was talking about staying in a shelter, and this is right when COVID was kicking off. Mm-hmm. And she's talking about staying in a shelter child. So it was an easy choice for the judge, with the father, and it stayed like this. Well, so now fast forward, it's been 5 years. She's seen the child, she's come to see her 3 times in 5 years, and she hasn't paid a dime in child support. I didn't twist the knife in court to ask for it. I just cared about the child's safety, Mm-hmm. And so I didn't ask for child support, and I've asked for it now, but I haven't forced it. It's it's like, do the right thing, And so it all coming to the title of your thing here, women who abandon their children. She says she would disagree, but I would, if I was in her shoes, I would move down the street. You couldn't keep me from my child. Mm-hmm. There's no way. Yeah, I would move. And she refuses to move down here, and now she's got a job and she's, not contributing anything. And she calls when she wants to. And then, and the other thing, all right, so when she calls, she never asks how the child's doing. It's always to tell us about her and what she's doing in her life. And anyway, I'll stop.
So I have a question. Here. So you said that when you found out that there was going to be a baby, it was the time where you find out who the boys are and who the men are. So you stepped up to the plate. Knowing what you know now, do you think that was the right decision?
Yes. And, I wouldn't run. I take responsibility. That's how I was raised. I got her pregnant. Nobody else did it. I did it. And I'm going to be the father no matter what. And so I doubled down for this child. I dedicated to this child no matter what happens.
What do you think when women say that being a mother is the most difficult job in the world? Do you think that's true?
And that's why I told you the background about the broken bones and the spinal fusion. If I can do this, anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. And I'm still walking.
This is the funniest day. We should do a clip with just all of their answers today.
Yep. Cool. All right.
So anyway.
So do you, you said the kid's 6 now?
She's 7, and she's got the bone disease too. She's broken her leg 3 times. And she's been in the wheelchair. Her first week of first grade, she broke her leg at recess. And her mother never came down for any of that. Never even asked how she healed in the end. And but I'm involved with the school and all that, and it's wild. She's such a beautiful girl. I don't know how you couldn't want to be around her. And but then you dig into the psychology thing, and of all the YouTube dive and of all the videos that talk about narcissistic abuse, and the reactionary abuse was an interesting one, because she tried to pin me as the abuser because I'd yell, I'd go on these yelling tangents, but it's because of I'd ask her, please, I come home and the kitchen's a wreck, dishes, she's outside, child sitting in front of the TV.
If she wanted to be back in the kid's life, would you allow it? No.
I beg for it. I beg for it, but in one capacity
it just won't
is
happen.
the problem, because with the psychological issues, she's not safe. So right now, the custody agreement was I've got full custody, but she can have supervised visitation every other weekend, and she hasn't taken any of those up, but it's the supervised part, and it's because she's I wish we could sit her in front of us, a psychologist or something. I don't know how that works, but because there needs to be an evaluation with it. And I see it with a lot of these females, and I think it's this whole culture of today and what you guys talk about, and why I'm drawn to your channel. And
well, cool. Well, thank you so much for calling in. Doug MPA,
thank you so much for listening.
Doug MPA, you got any other
blessing.
questions for him?
I don't. Just keep being there for your daughter, man.
Yeah, and I encourage all you fathers, just stand strong for your kids no matter what. We gotta turn this culture around, and raise these kids right and fix this world, man.
Yeah, good luck.
Get sanity back on track. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
God
good
bless
luck.
you,
See you.
God bless you.
Bye.
Okay.
Doug and Pierre, are you gonna fix this world?
Nah, man. I'm gonna stick to what I always say, guys. Keep your veins cold. If a woman has a child against your will, all they're gonna get is a check. That's it. Like this whole men having to do the right thing. We used to try to do the right thing, but women called that patriarchy. So if women are going to look out for themselves, you need to look out for yourself. I'm telling you, there's no such thing as doing the right thing anymore. We tried that as men, and women hated us for it. All right, we're going to bring up Sweet Auntie T.
Sweet Auntie T.
Yep.
Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Say one more thing. I want to guess the accent.
Should I throw it on real thick?
I'm not hearing. Are you Midwest?
Oh, gosh darn, I make the best gosh darn tater tot hot dish in a Tri-County area.
Wait, Wisconsin?
Milwaukee?
No, way North Dakota.
Let's go.
So what's your experience with women that abandon their kids? Do you know any?
Or you can ask Pearl a general question too.
Yeah, so mine's a little flip-floppy, but so I was raised by a single mom who just lived her life like she had no kids. So I kind of raised myself, and then I abandoned her a couple years back. But she didn't care. I'm sure it was a good riddance for her.
How old were you when you abandoned her?
Let's see. I just got married. So I was 27, 28. How many years ago was that? 6 years ago? I'm almost 40, so.
Okay. So, your mother, she lived like she didn't have kids, so you would just be home for long periods at a time, or what?
Yeah. She had different kinds of men in her life and would go on vacations with them and do as she pleased. And my sister had a different dad, so lots of baby daddies going on as well.
How many different siblings did you have?
Are we counting half blood, half step, X step, whatever?
Half.
I have a whole complicated. I have 3 half siblings.
Wow.
How many fathers?
3 / we're going to put an asterisk on that. It could be 4.
Wow.
She was out in these streets, man. Good Lord.
Oh yeah. She was nasty. She she was something else. But yeah, so she lived her life, however, and so I ended up abandoning her, but she was okay with it. So it's kind of on topic, I suppose.
Was there something that was the straw that broke the camel's back where you're just like, I gotta leave this behind?
Yeah, actually my wedding. So my husband and I were trying to make our guest lists and talk about weddings, and the cost of that was so outrageous that we were both just like, let's just like elope. So we ran off, and she got upset that I had taken a special moment away from her for being able to be a part of it. And then told the rest of the family what a terrible person I was for doing so. And I was like, wow, you haven't visited me in 10 years. I don't understand.
Wow.
So I was like, I can't.
You seem like you turned out okay, though. Like, you sound like you have a good head on your shoulders. Would you agree with that? Or did you have a lot of like issues coming from that?
So I had a lot, and there were different phases of grief, I would say. One was, the initial phase was, why did they do this to me? And like hating on my parents and her specifically. And then, because both sucked. And then my second phase was hating myself for perpetuating the issues that I had. Like, they're no longer here being a part of your life. Like, you need to get over it yourself. Like, you're the one making your life miserable this way. And then the third and final stage, which I think is the best stage, is the stage of gratefulness, that they both suck so bad that I was able to overcome any obstacle put before me.
It's almost good that she wasn't around too much, because then she probably would have influenced you more.
Yes, actually, yeah. I'm so grateful for that.
Doug and Pia, you got any other questions for her?
So my mother was verbally and emotionally abusive. And I was actually, was there any good traits? Okay, one of the only good things I got from my mother, who was emotionally and verbally abusive, is that there are situations that make other people uncomfortable that aren't uncomfortable for me because of how I grew up. And a lot of people notice that about me. And then I'm able to take a lot more than a lot of people. Was there anything positive at all in hindsight that you could take from that you took from either one of your parents?
Actually, so many things. I could give you a list, but I won't, because I'm not a normal woman. I'll be succinct. I definitely agree with you that my endurance level for things is super high, so that's grateful. And then, but another one for me is, because no one was around and like in my house at all, I was alone a lot. I actually had to learn everything by myself. And like, I taught myself everything I've ever known how to do. And that characteristic as an adult is so beneficial that I can just teach myself how to do whatever I want to do.
That's a great skill to have.
That's awesome.
And I bet you were like really ahead of your peers too, because you had you probably learned so much having to like raise yourself, basically. Did you feel like that or no?
Yeah, for sure. I was definitely super advanced. Although it's funny, because I live with my husband. We've been together for a long time. And once you live with someone that long, you start realizing that a lot of the things you do is kind of backwards. Because nobody showed me how, and he was taught things, and normal people that are taught things have a specific way, because everyone kind of follows the same guidelines for things. So when you're just teach yourself things, you kind of do things a little bit different, but it makes me think outside the box. So it's very beneficial.
When you first met your husband, did you have to learn how to live with another person and rely on another person because you were alone a lot of your life?
So relying on someone else is not something I'm capable. Like, it just seems unfathomable to me. So I've always been, we fluctuate as breadwinners. We both work very hard. We don't have any kids. And but living with someone I've done before, roommates, but with him specifically, I guess, learning to love someone and be like, that they could hurt your feelings if they left you. That part of that equation was difficult to overcome and adjust to being able to be that vulnerable.
Okay.
Do you ever hear, because now like women are always talking about their trauma.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's what it is. People, I've noticed that people that have very tough upbringings, it can be difficult for them to like listen to like the women that talk about their like trauma. Is that a thing for you at all or no?
I'm a misogynist first and foremost. I've been for a very long time. I was raised by a streets walker, and then her mini-me was a smarter street walker. She became a trophy wife. I listen to these people and I just can't. I can't with them. I can't with women. I actually have no friends because out of respect for my husband, I don't hang out with guys, and out of respect for myself, I don't hang out with other women.
Wow. Well, you can call into my show anytime. So if you're bored.
Yeah, I'd love to. You have a lot of topics that I could go into. If you ever especially get into working with women, that would be my dream to be on there. But you'd want to go on for a long time with me.
Okay. I got to ask you, just what's your, so they say that 50% of women would rather work for a male boss than a female boss. Do you agree with that stat?
Yes.
Okay. And then what is your worst, just 30 seconds, what is the worst thing that you have to deal with working with other women?
Them looking at me as competition and needing to wipe me out.
Oof. That's a good one.
For me, it's like the two-facedness. I can't.
Yeah, I can if they're coming after me. If they're not coming after me, I don't care what they're like. This is just a job. I don't do social media, so I don't have friends on social media. I don't friend coworkers, even if I did. So
yeah,
that's
and
fine.
The sad part about it is, women bosses, they treat men better than they treat women. Like, women in the workplace literally can't stand each other, and I have no idea why. And the myth is that women are all in this together, but they're really not.
No, not
I've coined a term, so it's not the sisterhood, it's the shit-sterhood.
That's awesome.
And I'm not invited, so I got kicked out a long time ago. I got my pass revoked.
Well, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Lovely.
Yeah, call him anytime, okay?
I will, for sure. Thank you so much for having me up. It was lovely to talk with you. I love your show. You guys have a great day.
Thanks. You too.
What a great call.
We've had great callers today. Guys, this is like 10 out of 10. Sometimes I feel like I'm talking into the abyss. And so I love when I get good callers and they're just like well-adjusted, cool people, you know? So
last person is going to be Nick.
Nick, how's it going?
Nick going once. Nick going twice. Sorry, Nick. We're going to let you go. You got to be ready next time. And that is everyone.
Cool. Well, this is a great show, Doug MPA. Yeah,
I knew it would be, because we got to do a lot more shows on mothers. I'm telling you guys, mothers inflict infinitely more damage on the children than fathers do, especially to young girls. Because guys, think about it. Who's the first person that you hear say that you're too tall, too short, too skinny, too fat?
Yeah.
Your nose is too big. Your hair is too nappy. You know, who's the first person you hear call a woman a slut or a whore? It's your mom.
Mom.
It's always your mom. Telling you. And then it's only gotten worse with this female empowerment feminism culture, where they're removing women from having to take accountability, and then mothers from having to take accountability too.
Yeah, so we could do a show on every single type of mother, like the career mother, like the different archetypes.
Yeah,
the deadbeat.
We'll have
mother.
To write up a couple.
Yeah,
because the sad part about it is the career mother, or the average female salary in the U.S. is still $34,546. And then the average male salary is $48,000. So all these women are foregoing raising their children for freaking $34,000 a year. Come on now.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the contribution. Doug MP, you got any final thoughts?
Just what I said just now. Hopefully one day. Do we have Jay Grant in here earlier? I don't remember, because I see him waiting there, and I don't remember if we had him in the show or not. Do you remember Jay Grant?
I'm not great with names. I'm good with faces and voices, guys, but you'll have to forgive me if I forget the names. Go ahead.
You know what? You want to take this last one?
Sure, we can do one more.
Okay. Jay, are you there?
Hey, can you hear me?
Hey,
Okay,
Jay,
yeah.
how's it going?
Sorry about that. I got a little busy there.
Okay. So what are your thoughts on the topic? What's your experience with deadbeat moms?
So I dated a girl 17, well, now 18 and a half years ago about. Told me she was on birth control. A week later, I found out she was lying about that and some other things. Stopped talking to her. About 10 months later, got a call back or started getting calls from her. Finally answered and told me that I had a kid. So after everybody telling me, change your number, she's just trying to get you on child support, I decided I'm just going to show up. I don't need a heir out there that hates me and causing destruction and stuff. So I showed up, looked just like me, and my whole world changed. And it went from fear to, all right, now I got to take care of this. Couple weeks, started showing up, bringing diapers and formula and stuff every other day or so. Wasn't usually seeing his mom there after a while. And eventually I was leaving one day from her mom's house where my son was. Mm-hmm. And she told me that I have to be honest with you, I haven't seen her in 2 weeks. So I turned around and I told her I'm coming to get him. Got him, all the baby stuff, and called work, said I need 3 months off. Had some money saved because I was just single. I was doing pretty well at the time. Mm-hmm. It's a long story. I've started to write a book about. I'm halfway through it, but so I try to focus it on her. And she was basically in and out of prison his whole life. If she wasn't in prison for something like assaulting a police officer or something else, she was just not present. And I gave her opportunity to see him, but other than her mom sneaking my kid to prison behind my back to visit her, he only saw his mother a handful of times. So possession is 90% of the law or something like that in Texas. Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay, I have possession of my son. My dad happens to be a family law attorney who I hadn't spoke with in years. His wife never had children. And I thought it would be grandparents are important. It would be the right thing to do to introduce my son to his grandparents. Worst decision I ever made. They kept asking me to let them watch him. You need a rest. You look tired. The first night I let them watch him. I went to go pick him up, and 8 o'clock, and they said, just let us keep him overnight and you can come get him in the morning. Called him on my way to get him in the morning. Long story short, I had to call the police to retrieve him. Stepmother, my dad's wife, had him in the back office of the legal building where my father has his office. And so begun a long story of 7 different lawsuits. I've been meaning to call you for a while because I think the story's valuable. It almost killed me, but I won every time, but not after false allegations, protective orders, arrests.
And these are from your parents?
Yes. Like I said, my
wow.
Father's wife never had kids. Yeah, needless to say, I have some major trust issues. But that she had tried to adopt in the past, but failed somehow. Mm-hmm. So I had a troubled past, you know.
So how long did the whole process take before you have custody now?
My son's 17 and a half now. I have full custody still. There were periods of, it's a very long story. There were periods of, they saw me carrying him up the stairs by one arm. So hence CPA, all that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm just wondering, how long did the whole legal process take? Like, how old was the kid then? And then how long were you in court in and out of for?
Short answer, 15 years.
Oh, my God.
I'm telling you, dozens of thousands of dollars it broke my bank several times. I thought I'm going to do the right thing by my kid. It turned out to be it destroyed my life, not my kid, but the fight to do the right thing for my kid. But the first one, for instance, it took, at the time I was on felony probation for a marijuana charge in Texas. I was almost done with it. And my father, because he's an attorney, got in contact with my probation officer, told him a bunch of stuff that wasn't true, extended my probationary period another 2 years but basically it took me 6 months to get full custody back.
And because your dad was a lawyer, it was like even worse.
Free for him, thousands of dollars from me. And there were so many conflicts of interest that they don't care. I would bring up the word conflict of interest and they would, it's the grandparent intervener acting as his own attorney, hiring ad litem attorney to represent my son, though those attorneys have a relationship. I could only afford a brand new attorney at the time. My father I found out later, was throwing her new business, throwing her clients so that was only the first one that went all the way to trial. That particular trial, like most of our trials, went all day, 7 or 8 hours, and end with the judge giving me custody. But I had to fight, and almost until I had a friend that graduated as an attorney, I had to argue better than the attorneys that I could afford. But the mother, your topic, sorry. Like I said, it's a whole book, and things need to change with this because it was me against the state, against like the whole system. And I always eventually won, but it literally almost killed me several times.
How much money did it cost, would you say? Just ballpark?
I don't like to think about it, but I mean, there were times where I had to pay court supervised visitation to get my custody back after a few months period. They have me on child support, paying them the months that they had my son based on false stuff. I don't know, $50,000 probably. Yeah, $5,000 here, $7,000 there, $3,000 here.
Wow.
And the funny thing is, child support, they start child support like that over a 6-month period. And there was this last time, took them 8 months to stop it once I had custody of my kid back. But your topic was the mother. I don't want to, like I said, it's a whole book. Mother, 2 years. So in Texas, when the child's 14, they can make their own decision. And of course he chose dad, and which I admire because they were playing such games with his head that, I mean, with grandparents, D's, F's, missed 75 days of school one year. just with that few month period that they had him. Mother, as far as abandonment, mother was found in a suitcase outside of Houston a year and a half ago. So
holy shit.
The ultimate. Yeah, I'll probably call back another time because I know this is a topic related to mother, but
holy
it's
shit.
crazy.
Yikes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I hear some of your calls and I'm like, that's nothing.
That's how the guy I met the other day, he said the mother abandoned the kid and basically he got custody right away, but now he's like a single dad. And I'm like, that sounds awesome. I'm like, that's the stories I hear. I'm like, that sounds like a great deal, actually.
We're good. They're a pain in the butt, but even if they're a good kid, like mine, they're just they're a pain in the butt, but it's the ultimate goal in life, it's all that matters, $50,000, it doesn't matter. Your kids are all that matter if they're out there,
Yeah.
But yeah, it was every couple years, the mother would get out of prison and they would deny these kind of things until I had absolute proof. Mother would get out of prison. All of a sudden, mother has money to file a lawsuit. In Texas, there has to be an open lawsuit or case for the grandparents to intervene. So they hire an attorney for her so that they could intervene. So they basically say, we'll help you get custody or help. And I'm like, you can see him. I just need a clean drug test. And, give me a clean drug test and you can see your kid. Never happened. And so they would tell her, we want you to be able to see him in an effort to open up a grandparent intervener case against me again. And she'd be back in prison before the court date come in orange jumpsuit suit and shackles. So basically, yeah, that happened for about 15 years.
Wow.
Off and on. Every 2 years, I was in the last semester of nursing school. They asked, hey, can we have Christian? And I'd always let them back in because I thought if I let them back in, they'll see that, my intentions are, no, they always, finals week of a bachelor's program, they filed a court date on finals days. They'd see when the finals were and file it then. And all because something like this, like, can we take Christian to, scratch that, my son to the pool, and I would say, well, we've had planned to go to a barbecue, not today. And a week later, there's a lawsuit to get grandparent visitation, and it's always a vector to get full custody,
Wow.
But we won every time.
All because you involved your parents too. Oh my God, you had to kick yourself. Because do you think it would have prevented it had you just never introduced your dad?
Absolutely. My life, our lives would have been.
Oh, that's gotta be the biggest, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was punished. Men are punished for doing the right thing. Specifically in my case, I just wanted to do the right thing by my kid. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to get him, wanted to get off probation and get him to my mom in California so we could, because I trust my mother and she's on her fourth marriage, but that's another story. But someone that I could trust, and they, I told her, do not tell them that you're leaving with him. And she wanted to do the right thing and brought him so they could say goodbye. Well, cops stopped my mom at the airport. And they commandeer my kid. It's crazy how easy it was. Like, I don't think they would have this easy of time doing it to a mother or especially a couple. But because I was a guy, it was just so easy for them to just say something and they take them.
Most of the horror stories I've heard are from Texas, actually. I've heard terrible things about Texas law.
The only thing good about Texas is that child support cap.
I didn't have to worry about that back then.
The most a woman can get from a man is $2,700. No matter what the guy's income is. Yep.
Well, that's good.
Well,
but if your father happens to be an attorney with a barren wife that's never had children, careful.
That's why Elon's first 7, 8 kids. No, his first 3 were born in South Africa, but every child after that, except for the one that he had with Ashley St. Clair, were all born in Texas.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's a crazy story, but you'll have to call in again.
I will.
On a different show. You sound like you
when
got a
I'm
lot
not-
to say.
Yeah, when I'm not in scrubs.
Cool. Well, thank you for calling in, Jay. We really appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, thank you, Pearl, for what you do. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks so much for calling in.
Good night. Thanks for trying back at my call again.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Okay, that's everybody.
Well, my final thoughts are that I think men are better people in general, not all, and they make better dads. And I hope that more women give up custody so that they can do what they're best at. So, yeah.
And then there's no show Monday, Tuesday, right?
Yeah, no show Monday, Tuesday, but I'll be back Wednesday, guys.
Cool.
All right, well, actually, I'll probably schedule one of the sit-downs that are scheduled for next week, next 2 days. I'll probably schedule It's Complicated for tomorrow. Okay, guys, well, make sure you like the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching.